Hello, everyone. Welcome to Draft Dreams, an Inside the Birds presentation profiling NFL draft prospects chasing their big dreams. I'm your host, Andrew DiCecco from InsideTheBirds.com, and with me today, one of my favorite players in this draft from TCU, safety Mark Perry. Mark, thanks for hanging with me for a little bit today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. What does it mean to you to hear that the NFL draft is now inside of 2 weeks?
It's crazy. Time really flew. It feels like just yesterday I was, walking back to the locker room my last college game. So, it's pretty crazy to see how fast time has went by. But, it's an exciting time. So really looking forward to it.
From the end of the Big 12 Pro Day until now, what has that time been like for you?
For me it's been pretty busy. Just because after I was able to get out there and get in front of scouts and be able to do my testing, after they were able to see what I was able to do, things have kind of ramped up a little bit. So, rather it's been virtual meetings or, formal meetings, 30 visits. It's been pretty hectic, but, it's been really insightful as well. So,
Yeah, I wanted to back up a second to that pro day, Mark. You ran a 4.4 and you tested off the charts. Where were you training for the event, and did you check off all the boxes that were on your docket?
yeah, I was training down in Frisco at Sports Academy, down there with Mo Wells. He's a really good trainer. Loved a lot of things that he was doing. And then as far as numbers, I was satisfied. The 40, the range was all over the place. I've heard anywhere from 4.35 to like 4.41. So like, I mean, I'm gonna go with the low end because I know what I'm capable of. So I tell people 4.38 because that's what some scouts had on their watch. So, but it varied though. But I was satisfied with what I was able to go out there and do. I had a few extra weeks to just focus and train and be able to just focus on that pro day. So,
Well, then 4 through 8 is what we're going with, man. Did you go into it feeling like you had to answer any questions, and if so, what were they?
I wouldn't say I went into it feeling like I had to answer any questions. I mean, like I've always been a good tester. I ran track in high school at a high level. I ran track in college at a high level. So, I knew what I was capable of. I think it was just a matter of, some other people not knowing what I was capable of. So I wouldn't necessarily say I was going in to prove something. I just kind of went in knowing what I was able to do. And, I just knew that people would catch up and figure out like, oh, okay, we didn't realize that and make them go back and watch the tape. So
Now, before we dive into your story, a lot of listeners are going to be Eagles fans, and I know that they met with you at the Shrine Bowl and they were at your Big 12 Pro Day and talked to you there. Has there been any? Can you expand upon that a little bit?
yeah, I've had a couple meetings with the Eagles. They've all been really good. I like obviously what they're building over there. And then in the safety room, they bring back a vet like Chauncey Gardner. That's a really good guy to have around you if I was to end up in Philly. So, love what they're building over there, and I guess we'll see in 2 weeks, about 2 weeks.
Now, you're from Rancho Cucamonga, California. I
Yes,
got
sir.
to know a player in the Eagles locker room last season who was from there, Eli Ricks.
Yep. Yep.
Did you have any interaction with Eli? I know coming up in the same area.
Yeah. So me and Eli actually played for the same 7-on-7 team. We went to the same high school for a little bit, and then I've actually been talking to him throughout this draft process, just kind of asking him a couple questions about obviously his journey. You know, everybody's journey is different. He's had his own trials and tribulations that he's had to go through. So I've just kind of asked him a few questions about how his first year in the league was, and just how he felt it went. So that's my guy. And, I'm talking to him all the time. So
Eli's a great guy. I did a rookie diary series where me and him spoke every week, and I kind of chronicled his whole season, and it was cool getting to know him. What's the biggest piece of advice that really resonates with you throughout the process that he gave you?
um, I think the biggest thing that he told me was just to really keep your head down and work, like not to listen to all the stuff in the media, all the all the mock drafts and all the experts that tell you, who's the top guy, who's the best. Because at the end of the day, none of that really matters. At the end of the day, all that really matters is getting an opportunity and what you're going to do with it. So it doesn't really matter what round you go from first all the way to undrafted. Eli was undrafted, and he played a big part this season. Not only did he make the 53, but he got some meaningful reps. So at the end of the day, like that's all that matters. So
Growing up in Rancho Cucamonga, Mark, what was the level of competition like? What was the football landscape like when you were growing up?
yeah, I think obviously there's a debate these days about who has the best high school football. I'm biased. I'm gonna say California every time because week in and week out, you're playing the best of the best. And not saying that other states aren't, but you know, I was teammates with a guy like CJ Stroud. We played against guys like Bryce Young and DJ Youngalele, and just we had guys all over Southern California. So every week it was a battle, and I think people are slowly starting to realize that the constant especially the Inland Empire, where Rancho Cucamonga is located. Each year, we're having more and more guys show up in the draft. So, I think that's just a testament to not only the high school football out here, but just the level of focus that we have to be able to get to college and do what we got to do to be able to set us up for that next level.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Bryce Young just a moment ago. Did you ever get a chance to pick him off in high school?
I didn't. Let's see. When did I think my sophomore year? No, my junior year, we were in the same bracket of the playoffs, but we lost right before we had to play them. That's when we played St. John Bosco. So I ended up playing DJ, but then unfortunately didn't get a chance to. But I was able to team up with him. Our 7-on-7 team, we had all the guys. Bryce Young was our quarterback, CJ Stroud was the backup, and Jaden Daniels was. They were all three of them were constantly rotating. So we were pretty deep.
Wow, that's crazy. Now you transferred to Rancho Cucamonga High School as a junior, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that was when you played defensive back because you were a wide receiver coming up.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going against CJ Stroud every day, or how should I say, how did that help your game and what did you learn?
Yeah, it definitely helped me. We had constant battles at practice. And being able to see CJ's growth from then until now, it's crazy because he's like a whole different player. But he still has that same mindset as he did when we were competing at practice. But it was constant. We're teammates barking at each other, offense versus defense. It's competition. What more could you want? So I miss those days, but maybe we'll get some in the future.
So, what was the recruiting process like? I know there were a number of schools courting you. What ultimately led you to Colorado?
Yeah, so for me, my recruitment was a little slow at first. Wasn't pulling in a whole lot of offers, and then I started to get a lot more attention after my junior year, my first year playing DB, because I had the size, I had the speed. Um, I had ended up getting one offer my junior year, and then going into my senior year is when I got a lot more of my offers. So ultimately, coming out of high school, I think I was choosing between Arizona State, Colorado, USC, and Arizona. And I ultimately chose Colorado because I was able to get some playing time early, and then also I had a new head coach when I first got there, Mel Tucker. So I was under the impression that he might be there for at least most of my career because obviously college football is constantly changing. So unfortunately, after my freshman season, he ended up moving on to Michigan State. So ended up staying there for another 2 years. Had a few different defensive coordinators, safety coaches, and then after my third year there, I decided to go transfer down to TCU, and the rest after that is history. So
What was the culture shock like going from California to Colorado, and how big of an adjustment was it?
it was definitely a big adjustment. It was a lot slower than what I was used to. Obviously California, it's a lot to do. It's very fast paced. And then, going to Colorado, I looked up one day and I'm like, dang, I'm in the middle of the mountains. Like, this is kind of crazy. So it took some getting used to, but ultimately I enjoyed it. I think it was something that I needed to experience something different to be able to, get out of my comfort zone and grow. So
You started out as a corner and a nickel, if I'm correct on that, at Colorado. I happen
mm,
to think that nickel is the toughest position to play on defense.
yeah,
What are,
most
what are your
definitely.
thoughts on that?
I wouldn't disagree with you. Rather you said corner or nickel. Both are. I think nickel's honestly a little bit harder just because you're in the slot. They have a two-way go, and seeing a lot of the route runners these days, they know how to set you up. So I would definitely say nickel.
How was that transition like for you, going from playing? You played mostly safety in high school, right? And then you're
Mm,
going to play corner and nickel, and you're on an island, or you're playing inside where guys, like you said, have a two-way go. What was that
yeah.
like?
Uh, um. It was trial by fire. I would say I would say it wasn't too different just because I played safety in high school, but the type of defense we played in high school, I would drop down kind of in that nickel kind of position a lot. So it wasn't too new, but it was definitely for me once I got to college, the real challenge for me was like knowing the defense and like knowing why people are doing what they're doing. Um, like not only knowing what I have to do, but what the linebacker's job is, what the corner's job is, and just communicating. So I think that was the bigger challenge for me stepping up to the next level versus where I was playing at.
And you had the benefit of learning from Brett Maxey, who had
hmm
worked in the NFL with the Titans and the Bucks and a number of other teams. As a
hmm
young player, what was your biggest takeaway learning under him?
just for me trying to be a sponge, soaking up all the knowledge that he was giving us. I know that he played in the league for a very long time and he was very productive. And then, obviously coached a lot in the NFL as well. So, that's something that you don't get every day. So, I just tried to come in every day with the mindset of, just taking up all the knowledge that he was giving me, taking the coaching tips and, trying to apply them to my game.
I wanted to revisit your transition from Colorado to TCU. What was the inspiration behind that? And obviously, you felt like it was the right choice.
Yeah, for me, I was at Colorado and, we didn't really have the team success that I wanted. Um, I think my last year there, I had a lot of personal success, but, the team success wasn't really represented in that. And, it was kind of a decision based off of what I wanted, not only for myself, but, as a team as well. So ultimately decided to transfer. And I felt like TCU was the best option. We're getting a new coaching staff coming in that year, still competing in the Big 12. Oklahoma and Texas were still going to be there. So, I was going to be playing in some of those big time games. I liked the defense that we were going to be running a 3-3-5 because it was heavily reliant on safeties, and I wanted to be able to wear multiple hats. Whether it was playing as a single high safety or rolling down in the box, covering one on one in the slot. So I think our defense asked me to do a lot of things. So ultimately, I thought TCU was the best option, and then my first year there, we were able to do something special. So
Two words stand out when I look at your game and I assess your career, Mark: adaptability and versatility. And you already alluded to it. You played free safety, strong safety, nickel, corner. Talk about some of the mental challenges that go on with learning all those different positions and how you feel that that's helped you grow as a player.
yeah, I think it's kind of just allowed me to, you know, when I'm on the field, obviously I'm playing one position, but since I've played all of them, I kind of understand like, okay, if we have this play call, who's stressed in this play call, where's the weakness, So I think I'm kind of able to really understand the defense more as a whole since I've been able to put on those different hats in the defense. And I think it's just helped my overall understanding of the game. So I definitely wouldn't change that at all. I think that's helped me get to this point.
In your words, what makes a high impact safety?
Somebody that can, be a calming presence on the field. Obviously football is a very hectic game. It's very fast paced, and I know it's going to get even faster. Getting to the next level. But having somebody back there that can, relay the calls, communicate, help keep the defense calm. And all the things the offenses are throwing at us. That's something that a safety can bring to a defense that is invaluable. And then obviously somebody just going to go out there and compete and do their job. Somebody that's going to help the team make the plays that they need to make to get off the field or get the ball back to the offense. So,
And Mark, you've outlined the moving parts that are going on. You're back there directing traffic. Being a calming presence is one of the first things you said. How do you go about doing that? And how long did that take to master?
yeah, for me, I probably wouldn't say till I got to TCU I really understood that just because like for me, like throughout the course of a game, like there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be highs and lows. So just for me, like at TCU, we had a strength coach under the name Kaz Kazadi, and he was really big into sports psychology. So my first year there, I really leaned into that and tried to take as many tips from him as I can. And one of the biggest things that he always stressed my first year there was we had a saying we would always say clear it after every play. Good or bad, clear it. If it's a bad play, don't get too high, don't get too low. Just kind of try to stay right there in the middle. And I think that's honestly what helped us, get to that stage in 22 because you would see throughout the games that we were in a lot of high stress situations, and we always found a way to make it happen. So I would say that that's definitely a testimony to not only him but the culture that they're building at TCU. So that has definitely helped me throughout my couple years there.
Looking back, where do you feel you've made the biggest strides in your game?
Um, I would definitely say in coverage this past year. I think I was a lot better this year. Obviously, there's still a lot more growth to be had, but I think that my once I get to the NFL, I think my game will translate a lot better to the NFL than it did in college. I think I'll end up having a better NFL career than I did college career, and everybody's journey is different. So just because I wasn't the greatest college safety to ever play, that's not a problem. But I'm still striving to be one of the best NFL safeties to play. So
Was there a play or a moment or even a series in your career that signaled to you that you were ready for the NFL, that that was a legitimate possibility?
um I wouldn't say a specific play or series. I think it's just kind of like a moment in time. Like after I'd probably say after last season, I felt pretty confident that it was a possibility. But ultimately, I decided to come back because I wanted to put more stuff on film, and I also wanted to graduate and get my degree. So I was able to do those two things this year. So I knew that the NFL wasn't going anywhere, and when it was my time, it was my time. So I think it was really just a process. I think the timing now was better than the timing if I would have came out last year. So just kept my head down and kept working and decided to come back to school. And I think it was a good decision. So
How pivotal was it being invited to compete at the East West Shrine Bowl and really proving your ability to compete with some of the top competition in the country?
yeah, I think that was a big week for me. Obviously because to get my name out there even more. Was able to go out there, leave a good impression on scouts. I had a pretty good week that week. Played pretty good in the game. So I was really satisfied with what I did that week. I just kind of went in, trying not to make it any bigger than what it was. Like at the end of the day, still football. If you communicate, run, and hit, most of the time you're gonna end up all right. So those were my three real focuses that week.
Now you're a bigger guy, Mark. You're 6 foot, 3 foot, three or 213 to 215. But what really stands out is your ability to cover and match with all these different receivers down the field. You're very fluid in coverage. How do you go about keeping that area of your game, on point?
Yeah, I try to do as many corner drills as I can. When I was at Colorado, I had obviously Brett Maxey was my safeties coach, but we had a corners coach, Demetrius Martin. He's coaching at Michigan State right now. But when I wasn't with the safeties, I would go in the film room with him and watch corner film or go through some drills that they would do because yeah, I play safety, but at the end of the day, like sometimes we're still asked to cover just like a corner. Like we all got to work together. So, I don't think the two should be treated any different, honestly. So, and he would always stress that technique sets you free. So, I try to watch as much corner tape as I can when it comes to coverage, and then I watch a lot of safeties when it comes to more of the rotation of the safeties, structure of the defense, different things that they're asked to do. So, you know, just like to watch a lot of film of a lot of different things.
Was there a receiver who particularly gave you trouble that you can think of? And if so, what did you learn from that encounter?
Hmm. Let's see. Uh, Can't really think. I can't think off the top of my head, but I know I've definitely had some games where I played against some really good opponents. Trying to give you an example, but I can't think. Oh, Rasheed Rice when we played SMU 22, he was really good. There's a couple guys though, but definitely was able to, and that was another thing I liked. Every week in the Big 12, you were facing another great receiver. Another one off the top of my head, Marvin Mims, he was really good
Oh
as
yeah.
well. So Xavier Worthy, AD Mitchell, now they're starting to fly off my head now, but all
Any
those guys.
any memorable matchups that you were able to kind of take something away from that?
Um, I would say probably Xavier Worthy in 22. They tried to take a lot of shots on us because we knew that's when they still had Bijan. So, knew they wanted to run the rock. And, we knew that they were going to try to play action us and, find him somewhere over the top. And, I think we were able to, kind of neutralize that a little bit. So that that matchup is pretty memorable just because what we were able to go in and do. We went down to Austin and held them to 10. Well, we really 3 points on defense, but they ended up scoring 10 off a forced fumble. But I was proud of that effort. So
What are some of your off the field interests, Mark?
really into fashion. I want to end up starting my own brand soon. Rather I just want to work somewhere in fashion after football. Rather it's designing, modeling, styling, anything like that. Also into video games. My free time I play video games. Chill with my dog. So pretty simple guy, but
In your mind, what makes you one of the best or the best safety in this draft?
I think it's my willingness. For me, I realize that everybody's journey is different. And, for me, I've been fortunate enough to, work my way up every single year. I think every year I've taken a step forward. And when I say willingness, I'm willing to get better. Not really worried about the outside expectations. Obviously, everybody has God given abilities. We wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for that. So, I don't want to say my size or my speed. So, I would say it's my willingness. When I end up getting drafted, I'm gonna go into a building and I'm gonna be in the room with that coach every day, trying to learn that defense as fast as I can, so that I could be, in the best position to produce as early as I can, and get under a vet that I can learn from. Learn how to be a pro, learn how to be a NFL safety, and then we're gonna go from there. So.
What's going to be running through your mind when you get that phone call on draft weekend and you learn where you're going to be playing at the pro level?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of emotions. A lot of early mornings, a lot of late nights. A lot of days that I didn't know if I was going to make it to this position. So I think it's going to be just five. I played 5 years in college, so about 5 years worth of emotions that come out all at the same time. So
Have you figured out what you're going to be doing on draft week and how you're going to spend it?
yeah, I'm probably just going to stay at home, watch it with family. Nothing crazy.
Well, I look forward to seeing what the future holds for you, Mark. You're multifaceted safety, and the league needs a ton of them, especially with all the tight ends that are coming out all over the place. So
So.
look forward to it, man. Thanks so much for your time. That's going to do it for this episode of Draft Dreams. For Mark Perry, I'm Andrew DiCecco. Thanks for tuning in.